Tennessee's Wildside, broadcast for nearly 2 decades, was originally created through a vision of the Jackson Foundation. The foundation remains a supportive partner in the mission to educate viewers about wildlife, natural resources, and opportunities for outdoor adventure. Tennessee's Wildside is produced in association with Rockwater TV.
Hi friends, welcome to the Wildside. I'm Steve Hall. Freedom is a word we hear a lot in our world. Freedom to make choices, freedom to worship, freedom for the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness in a free country. But when you're a prisoner of someone else's actions, freedom can be harder to find.
It's not necessarily when you start feeling comfortable on the horses, but when the horses start trusting you, and you can see that they trust you. They chose to trust you.
Freedom Range Ranch wasn't something that I thought would ever be a part of my life. Went to college at Belmont, graduated with a BBA, went straight into working in the music industry. In fact, if you told me that I'd be running a ranch and being a part of a nonprofit, I would have thought you were crazy.
Chris is literally one of the most amazing people I've ever met, and our heart for people and our kids and for horses just knows no bounds, and it's only because of what God has done in her life that she's able to do this.
My life had been ransacked by abuse. Sexual abuse was the hardest for me to overcome. What happened is I met a horse who I call my heart horse. His name is Boston. I started to learn a little bit about this magnificent, powerful animal, but that was always afraid. And realizing that's how I had felt a lot of the time, except my fear turned to anger. He was a horse that was quite honestly deemed mean, uncontrollable, crazy, and worthless. And those were the terms that past trainers had used in his history to describe him. I wanted to show him that I wanted to be with him and for him. It was amazing because we were accomplishing this together, and the cool thing is in that whole process, God really started to soften my heart. Then just started seeing all these parallels of how horses were designed to be just this created animal that had such purpose. Basically through this process, I was letting people know, hey, you can come out and spend time with horses. And these kids would come and parents would bring kids that were just going through challenging things, whether it be an issue with school or bullying or challenges with relationships or, recent divorced parents. And I saw them interact with these horses and start to actually grow in who they were, but most importantly in their confidence and then ultimately their identity.
Every week, just the one thing that I'm always excited for, that I always look forward to in the week, is just being able to come here.
Isn't that cool that God would use something that He created with so much purpose to be what draws people in who are afraid to trust people because they've been wounded by them?
It's the one thing that I can say is just very inconsistently consistent in my life, and it's a beautiful thing to be able to come here.
It just started snowballing, and the snowball got bigger and bigger to this point we're now a ranch that's doing free of charge mentorship for kids and young adults who've just been beat up by life.
When I was in middle school to high school, my family went through a pretty intense trauma. I loved horses ever since I was a kid, but I never got to be around them. I would only read the books. So being here and getting to have that hands-on work is just a dream come true. The horses gave me a confidence that I didn't know I had.
And that's what the foundation of Freedom Range Ranch is. It's this place where horses that most of them who have been through abuse and neglect themselves meet with kids and young adults who have been through some of the horrible things that life has to offer, and both of them heal together.
This is Goliath. We found him running feral around the streets of Mount Juliet.
So this is Joseph. He is a 30-year-old saddlebred.
This is Bronson. I started working with him when he first came here.
All the little kids will come by and they get so excited because they see a horse that's their size and that's down on their level.
We
rescued him from an auction that is well known for slaughter.
We practice natural horsemanship, so we don't force horses to do anything with us. It's an invitation. It's a big stretch.
When we were leading him out of the auction house, he let out this huge sigh, like he knew he was going to his new home where he would be loved and be safe.
He has a really interesting personality. He's very smart and curious, and so he's really fun to play with. I've taught him a lot of stuff. He's very smart and he'll pick up things really quickly.
He just kind of like gets you ready for going up to a bigger horse and working with someone else. And it's just, you don't really feel intimidated when you're around him, and it's just really easy to just be like, okay, I got this, I can do this, I know how to work with him.
And so many of our participants come in feeling isolated and feeling very alone in what they're dealing with. And they just need someone to reach out to them. And Joseph is that horse who does that. He immediately gravitates towards people. He's like, pet me all the time, love me, work with me. He loves to work. He loves groundwork. He loves to please people.
Delaney's been through some struggles over the last several years, and so this program, along with horses, looked like it'd be a perfect fit.
And it's really cool to see participants come in, and sometimes they're shy, sometimes they're withdrawn, sometimes they're tense and they're nervous. And that just helps them to relax and open up and have a good time.
I get here, I get out of the car, everyone greets me, everyone's super welcoming. I see the horses, I get some physical exercise, which is always super helpful for my mood personally. And maybe, I want to say not even to like 5 minutes, I already feel better. And when I leave, I'm in like 10 times a better mood than when I came here.
Once you see what's going on here, you want to do more. You want to do as much as you can, because you see where it's going, you see how it's helping, and you see what the ranch is doing for the children that come out here, the young adults that come out here, as well as the volunteers that are out here, how it ministers to them.
It provides me hope, which is I think what Chris was trying to do anyway, so for the parents there's hope too. It gives me hope when I see her on the horses, or even when we were at the recent fundraiser that Carissa does once a year in Freedom Reigns, just to see how well Delaney just jumped in and did whatever she wanted to do. As a dad, it just makes me proud to see her be engaged and give back.
For fundraisers, we do our horse show. It's once a year, it's in the spring in Nashville. And then in December, we do what's called our Christmas Hunter Pace in Columbia. Basically, it's a really cool trail ride with jumps thrown in and some contests along the way. We try to make our events something that people really truly enjoy going to and that are reflective of the ranch and our heart for it.
Our biggest need right now, I would say volunteers. We need the session leaders, we need the horse care, as well as we need the ability to have more sessions.
And we're not named Freedom Reigns by any mistake, because truly you can physically see freedom and joy and hope come alive out here. It is a special place, and that's why I love being a session leader, is to just be a part of that and get to see that happen.
There's actually scientific evidence to support this horse-human healing relationship. In 2014, Dr. Ann Baldwin did a study to see if a human's heart rate could affect the heart rate of a horse. She proved that it could, but surprisingly, she also discovered that the human's heart rates drop to a frequency that's not typically normal, but is very common in horses.
We talk about the different ways that their body language is communicating things to us. You want to trust the leader that's like, guys, whatever goes wrong, we're going to be okay because I'm going to look out for you. And that's what horses look for in leadership. The importance of being present in the moment and realizing, is there anything to be afraid of right now? And the answer to that here is no. And so horses force us in the most loving way to be present, to be gentle, and to naturally calm our heart rate. Because if we don't, they're going to decide they need to be the leader. Their mental capacity is a 1,200-pound 2-year-old. And so that horse allows us to really be a bridge into their heart.
She has a heart for this place and a heart for the kids that come here and the parents and the adults. It's who she is. It's who she is.
She's the real deal.
Yeah.
It's not me doing it. It's a bunch of people giving their talent, their time, their hands, their hearts, a bunch of horses with some of the most horrible abuse or neglect stories that they've overcome. And then kids being willing to come and say, I want to overcome things. I want to have hope again. And watching that get ignited and then everyone working together to make it happen.
It's like every time that I just step within the gate, immediately I'm able to just take a deep breath and just not worry about what's going on outside of this fence. I definitely see horses as 100% being my future.
There you go. Good job.
Freedom Reigns Ranch has been so successful it now has a waiting list. You can go to our website, wildsidetv.com, for more information and to watch hundreds of other stories we've produced here on the Wild Side.